Hello, I'm Constitutional Attorney Catherine Henry. Thank you for joining us today for the Wednesday Way to Get Involved Challenge. Yesterday, we had quite a lengthy discussion about municipal governments. What are the constitutional powers and responsibilities? Why should you care? Why should you be involved? Why do you need to know about your municipal government? We also had a great discussion with a Michigan Township trustee. He's actually the township treasurer, Michael Bosch, and alluded to several ways that you can get involved. So great minds think alike. Michael Bosch yesterday brought up some great things about how you can get involved that I was already planning on sharing with you today in the Way to Get Involved segment. So without any further ado, I'm going to add that in right now. So we have a multi-part Way to Get Involved challenge for you today. I'll make my screen a little bit bigger for you here. Okay, so again, today's Wednesday's Way to Get Involved challenge it revolves around municipal government and constitutional powers and responsibilities. The first thing I want you to do, and many of you by now can skip several of these because you know off the top of your head. But if you don't know off the top of your head, I'm asking you to open up Google and start searching. Number one, I want you to identify your municipality. Is it a township, a city, a village? For example, in Michigan, if you live in the Jenison area, Jenison doesn't exist as an actual community, if that makes sense. Jenison is not a city. It's not a township. It's not a village. As far as governmental entities go, Jenison does not exist. But Georgetown Township does. So if you live in Jenison, if you put on your address 123 Main Street, Jenison, Michigan, 49428 or 26, whichever one it is, then you live in Georgetown Township. There's a lot of other areas like that throughout Michigan as well. And there are other areas in other states as well. So find on your voter registration card, what municipality does it say? I also then want you to identify how many council or board members there are. So for example, if it's a city council, such as in Belding, Michigan, they have a certain, I think it's 5, number of board members or city council members. The Georgetown Township Board of Trustees, the township board, has a supervisor, a clerk, a treasurer, and then 4 general trustees, if you will. I then want you to identify, are there any at-large members that you vote for, or just one member per precinct? So generally speaking, in the larger communities is where you might find that, say, your city is broken down into 11 different precincts. You might have the one member, the one board member or city council member per precinct. But you if it's a large community, you might also then have on your ballot an at-large member, which means they could live anywhere in the community. They don't have to live within just one specific precinct or portion of the city. I then want you to figure out, and this is where it's going to get a little bit harder for some of you, because some of you already can know or tell me off the top of your head the answers to 1, 2, and 3. But number 4 is, on what day and time are the meetings? So in the last couple of years, I'm assuming that far more of you now understand or know the answer to that question off the top of your head than you did before. But if you don't know the answer, please take a look and figure out what day and time your meetings are. At which location is number 5? At which location are the meetings held? And are they also live streamed? Number 6, which member represents you? So in the vast majority of communities, you should have an individual board member or council member that is assigned essentially to your precinct or district or however they've broken the population down to make sure there's equal representation. So in the event that that does happen in your community, which member represents you? Number 7, I'm challenging you to find the email and phone number for that member. There may be, if it's a more high-tech community, perhaps they have some sort of live streaming or chat function or something through their own website, or maybe the city has an app or something like that, where maybe it's not the standard old email and phone number, but find a way that you can readily contact your city council member or township board member. If you don't have one that's assigned to you, then just, if it's at large members or whatever, just pick one. Pick one to reach out to and find the contact information for that particular individual. And here is where the rubber hits the road, the challenge beefs up, so to speak. I'm asking you to find out where your representative stands on important issues to you. So, if you don't know what some of the issues are that they've been talking about, Google or take a look at your local township paper, or a lot of communities have like a name of your city and then informed page, Hudsonville Informed or something like that on Facebook or, some other social media platforms. So, just kind of dig around a little bit. And I guarantee you, once you start digging around, especially if you own property, if you own your own house or own your business, you are going to start seeing things that you didn't realize you cared about, that you absolutely care about and want to have your voice heard on. But even if you just rent where you're at, I guarantee you there's going to be some issues, at least one, if not many, that you actually would care about. So I want you to figure out what stance does your chosen city council or board member, what stance do they take on those particular issues or that issue? How would you possibly know? Well, if in a larger community or more high-tech community, they might have their own page on a website somewhere, or their own website altogether. At the very least, on your city or township's municipal government website, they might have their own little blurb, maybe some links to different things. So start there. You can read their posts on social media about those particular issues. They might have their own personal page that they're posting on. They might have an account specifically tied to those, that role that they're serving in. You could call or email them directly. Just straight up ask them, hey, I see this particular issue. There's a proposal to rezone this area of the community and allow whatever. Call or email them on that particular issue and find out where they stand and share your own thoughts about it. Have a dialogue. Really be open to hearing what their position is and why, and then expect that in return and be ready to share your thoughts about what your position is and why you think that. Read old meeting minutes. That's a great way to see what they've said, how they set it, perhaps, and maybe the how they set it is something that if the meetings are recorded or live streamed and then the live stream is saved, see if you can view or even just listen to prior meetings. That would be an excellent way to understand, because then you can see, do they look engaged in the conversation? How heated is the discussion? Sometimes in the minutes, a lot of that doesn't make it onto paper. And of course, the best suggestion yet that I could give you is to attend the next meeting. Actually see face to face in live, real time, what your particular board member or council member is, what their stance is, how they're approaching issues, how they're responding, and make your voice heard at that meeting. Stand up and give public comment during the time assigned to that particular thing. So those are the challenges for this week. The link to this little piece of paper is in the description of the comments, or in the description of the video here. But I also wanted to show you, I live in Ormond Beach, Florida now. So right on the, I just searched Ormond Beach and the first hit was the official website. And then there was some little suggested, sub parts to the website to pick. And I clicked on residents and this is where it brought me. So you can view city news, notices, and events. Again, if you don't know where you stand on some issues because you just don't know what the issues are currently in front of your local municipal government, find something like this and read up on that. It might be in a more readable format, not, some boring minutes or agendas, but rather, stories and news reports and things like that. Maybe some videos, news clips. Then let's see here. I guess I should check in to see if anybody has commented. I would like you again to look at some of those agendas and look at the meeting minutes. So of course, agendas are what's coming up or what was set to be the thing being discussed at a particular meeting, whereas the minutes are of course the recording of what happened, what decisions that were made, sometimes the detail of the discussions as to how those decisions were made. In my community, it looks like access to recordings of the meetings are available right here. And there's also the meeting schedule. I see here there's a button for live streaming and the agenda. So you have an agenda, but then you'll also have the meeting packets or agenda packets, as it's called here. So, each board member is going to be given an agenda, but they're going to be given a whole bunch of other documentation to support or inform the council or the board on what topics need to be discussed and decided upon. So let's see. Also on this website for Ormond Beach, there's a schedule about, it's called About Our Meetings. So there's meeting materials. It tells you when and where the meetings are. It talks about participation, what their policy and their expectations are, and the procedure and order of business that's mentioned kind of over here. This community also has a staff directory. If you look over on this side, it's all the basically the offices or departments of the city, and so you have the telephone numbers here or links here to those various offices, and basically the volunteer or citizen boards and committees for the city are listed here. Again here, and it tells you how people are put on those boards. They're appointed. It tells you who appoints them, what their functions are, and how to apply. So this is actually a pretty straightforward way to get an understanding of what boards there are and maybe how you can participate. I myself have served on, let's see, do they have one listed here? they probably have one called by a different name, but I've served on a downtown development authority board. I've served on a planning commission board. And of course, I've served on the whole township board, which is analogous to the city council itself. So let's see, is there anything else I wanted to share with you? I think there was one more thing on this. Yes. So this also kind of buried, if you ask me, is the link to the city commission itself. So you can see the contact information, and it shows that there are 5 city council members, the legislative body of the city of Ormond Beach. So it's a mayor and 4 commissioners. So they don't, in Michigan, the commission is a county commission, and at the city level, it's called a city council. So if you're from Florida or another state that uses terms like Florida and you think I'm talking about it backwards, forgive me. I'm used to city council and county commission, whereas here it's the county council and city commission. So at any rate, it's the same body that we're talking about. The city commission, I love that it has the duties right here, what their responsibilities are. And the election and the terms. It gives the email, phone number, and other information for these the board members. And there are 4 zones. So I wonder if it would, let's see. Oh, commission zones right over here. So once I had clicked on the city commission itself, it gave the information on this. And I'm just going to click this to see. I've never clicked on this link, just to give you an example. Again, this is in Ormond Beach, Florida, but whether you're in Michigan or Minnesota or California or wherever you are, it's just an idea of where to check. So this shows that there's an even breakdown, and this includes the 2020 census. So this shows that there's an even breakdown of population, but of course the number of acres covered by each zone is vastly different. So zone 4, this right here, is the most dense in population, but it's 2,800 acres, whereas zone 1, which includes this part here, and then all of this over here in the yellow, orangish color, that's almost 15,000 acres. So whereas there's zone 2 here has all of the south side of the beachside community, as well as more of the traditional downtown area. And that would be Troy Kent is the current commissioner there. So I love that this map includes also where City Hall is, the library, hospital, fire station, schools, etc. And it does so for each of these zones. So at any rate, that is an example of what you'd be looking for when you're trying to look up this information for your own community. So again, please take a look at the link itself to the document that I shared with you today. It has this 8-part challenge, but it's vital. It's important. It's our local communities that have been deciding big issues for many years, but it's our local communities who really can be the basis for major change across the U.S., certainly in your state and in your county. So don't overlook what's happening at that local level, as we're concerned with all these big issues that are receiving national media attention across the country. We still have to pay attention to those very issues and how they're handled at home in those local governments, but also the other issues that aren't covered in national media coverage. So with that, I want to thank you for joining me today on our Wednesday Way to Get Involved challenge. And I hope that you will tune in tomorrow for our Constitution segment recap, as well as our Fridays, Freedom Fighting Tools, Saturdays, Restore Freedom Goodie, and Sundays, Biblical Insight Perspective. Of course, next Tuesday at noon, I hope that you join us for next week's episode. It'll be on municipal governments, but at the county level, and will, of course, feature a special guest, a good dear friend of mine, Joe Moss. He is the co-founder of Ottawa Impact, a grassroots activist group focusing on municipal government. And he's also an Ottawa County Commissioner candidate for this upcoming primary election. So join me on Tuesday for that, and tune in for all the other segments in between. And I thank you for watching today. Have a great day, everyone.